Welcome to Outlaw Woodworking. Today we're going to do a large format geode, kind of a crystal geode epoxy art project. And what I've done so far is I've got a 4x4 piece of MDF that I primered black, and then I took my CNC machine and I cut out this kind of snake looking thing, and I basically hot glued LED lights into the bottom of this groove. And the next step is going to be we're going to apply some epoxy in here, and then we're going to also apply some crystals. So the idea is that this is going to be a large format wall art with crystals, and then we're going to be able to light it up different colors with the LED lights. And yeah, let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to mix up some epoxy, and we're going to coat this center section and start applying the crystals. And I'll take you along for the ride. Let me show you how we're going to do it. Now, what we're going to use to start this project, I ran out of the epoxy that I usually use, so we're going to try out this epoxy from Home Depot. It's called Fomo Wood Glaze Coat. It is a top coat epoxy, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So the first thing we're going to do is get all our cups ready, get our mixing sticks ready. We're going to be using this glass. We're going to be using some silver glitter, Spectra glitter, and this is called silver. And then we're also going to use this Okinawa blue from Eye Candy, and then we're going to also use this snowflake white from Rolio. And that'll be the first process. We're going to try to get in our crystal river and get something started. And then we'll see how far we go, and we might continue on and try to get some more done. Anyway, let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up probably two batches of resin. And we're going to do, I always put the hardener in first because it's thinner, and then I pour the epoxy on top. Now you want to make sure that your room temperature is 70 degrees, and that's what I have my thermostat set right now. So let's get started. We'll start off. We'll do 2 cups to start. So we'll go ahead and fill this 1 cup with hardener. Remember, it's very important that your room temperature is 70 or above. Currently, my room temperature is 66, so I'm going to turn up the thermostat a little bit, make sure it gets up to 72. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to mix this for a few minutes. You have pretty good working time with this, although this is a new epoxy that I haven't used before, so I guess we'll find out. I could be wrong. Always scrape your sides really good. Now we're going to be pouring this right in on top of that LED light. And what I want to do is I want to have some of this blue, Okinawa blue, in on top of that light, so it's going to shine up through there. And it doesn't take much. A little bit goes a long way with this stuff. Usually I try to mix for at least 3 minutes in these cups, and remembering to always scrape the sides really good. My plan is to basically pour this epoxy into this groove and have a little bit run over the edge, and then I'm going to apply my crystals. And basically that's just fiberglass that you would use in a fire pit. I don't know if you can see how blue that is, but it's This Okinawa blue is really nice. I use it on river tables and it seems to work pretty good. So you just keep on mixing this really thoroughly. This stuff will fully cure in 24 hours, and then you can sand it and put another coat on top, or if you wanted to apply more, you could apply more like 8 hours later, or even any time in the first 10 hours. You can just apply it without even sanding it, as long as it's tacky. But it is important to thoroughly mix it. Constantly scrape the sides, because you're going to get epoxy that goes on the sides that doesn't necessarily get mixed thoroughly. So I'm constantly scraping the sides. Yeah, each art piece is unique, and it's a lot of fun to do. This is the second one. It's the first one that I'm going to do with LED lights. And basically what I did was I CNC'd this little snake-looking thing, hot glued the LED lights into the bottom, and then on the back of this board, I CNC'd a spot for the switch and a spot for the battery. I'll show that to you before the end of the video. Okay, it feels like we got this thing pretty well stirred up. So let's go ahead and I'll readjust the camera, and I'll show you how I'm going to do this. Okay, next up we're going to mix another cup, and this time we're going to use a different color. We're going to use some white. So again, we'll start off with the hardener. Okay, next up we're going to mix up some black. Same thing, we're going to mix up a cup at a time. Right here I'm using a blow dryer to basically blend the epoxy colors together, kind of create some movement, and that really works good actually. Okay, next up we're going to mix up some gold. And same thing, we're going to mix up a whole 2 cups. Now this stuff I special ordered. This is a 14 karat gold from Eye Candy. Okay. Again, this is 14 karat nugget gold from Eye Candy. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to mix this up for 3 minutes, scraping the sides. Keep your room temperature at 70. This should add a lot of bling to this this piece of art. Since I ran out of epoxy, the next day I decided I was going to sand the edges where I was going to try to blend this together a little bit. So I sanded all these little green edges. And I think this is the mistake personally, and leave a comment what you think, but I believe that you really should make sure you have enough epoxy to finish it all in one day, because it'll blend a lot better. You can use the blow dryer, you can use the heat gun, you can really move things around. And another mistake I think I made was using too many colors. I was it was my second one that I've done, and I was kind of really going crazy on the colors. And yeah, it's a learning experience, so let me know what you think at the end of the video. Right here I add some white to this area, and basically I was going to go around the whole thing adding this white. And a 4x4 project like this takes about a gallon of epoxy, maybe even a little more if you count the epoxy in that river. So right here I add the white. Next I add some black in there. Next up I get the blow dryer and push this white out into this black to give it kind of a smoky look, almost like some flames of white going into that black. Now the thing I realize is, you know, if you do it all at once in one day, I believe it'll turn out a lot better because you can blend, you could do a lot more blending, and I realized, you know, my color scheme was a little wild actually. You know, I don't know how many colors I got in there, 10 or 11 colors. So you could do, I believe if you kept the colors a little more moderate, you would actually do good. Now here's a mistake I made. I looked at these big red areas and I thought, you know, I'm going to put some green in the middle of those red areas. But and right here I sand a little bit and then I pour some green in there. And what I realized is there's no way to blend it into the red because the red was cured the day before. And I think if I would have left those green things off and just left the red, I think it would have looked a little better. I'm not totally disappointed though. I'm still, you know, I'm still satisfied. It's kind of cool, looks cool on my wall. And yeah, but those are mistakes you make. So each one's a learning experience, and each one you hope to, you know, learn from the one before what to do and how to make it better. Right here I sand all the sides. Originally I had intended for the epoxy to roll off the sides in a color format, but it didn't seem to work out that good. So right here I sand all the sides down. And then basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape off the top of this epoxy and spray those sides a flat black. I thought the LED was kind of a cool feature to add to this, and yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Right there you can see the electronics box in the bottom left hand corner of it, and right here I just spray the whole side with flat black. It's nice having the CNC machine that you can actually cut out these little pockets for the electronics and everything. And then basically what it has there, it has a battery pack. And I'll show you a close-up after I install the battery pack. I'm going to use some double-sided tape. And right here I'm checking the measurement. Thanks for watching this episode of Outlaw Woodworking. Lessons learned. This was a fun project to do. It's 4 foot by 4 foot with LED lights in it, glass crystals in the middle, and I basically put a battery pack down here behind here, and you can change the color. You can change the color of the river, so you can change it to green. Actually, that's one of my favorite ones right there. Is the green, but you can change it to a darker green, a blue. That looks kind of cool too. Light blue, purple. I think this green's my favorite one with the little red on the bottom. Anyway, lessons learned. This is my second large format epoxy wall art. And one thing I learned was you really need to do it all at once. Now you can, if you're doing a crystal river, you can glue in that river the day before, but when you're doing this, all the rest of the epoxy, you really need to do it all at once so that you can blend them together with your blow dryer or your heat gun. And one of the mistakes I made was I didn't have enough epoxy originally to do the whole thing. So I was able to do this whole centerpiece and a little bit of this outside centerpiece all at once, and then I ran out of epoxy. And when you run out of epoxy, the next stuff that you install, it's not going to blend in. Like you can see right here. I mean, it didn't turn out terrible, but you know, you're not able to blend. Like these are new right here, so I was able to blow the blow dryer, and you can see the white going into the black right there. But I think, in my opinion, the best way to do it is have enough epoxy to do the whole pour in one day. And although it turned out pretty cool, a couple of the bad mistakes I made was I had these big areas of red, like right here and right here and down here. And what I wanted to do is I kind of wanted to dull down the big red, so I added this green right here and this green right here. But I really added a little too much, and when I blew dry it in there, it ended up kind of taking over that red. Although I'm not totally disappointed in the painting. It's my second one, and this is the lessons that you learn. And the only way I get better is by failure. So although I do like it, and I'm going to keep it here for a while, it turned out cool. And I really like the LED feature. I think it adds a lot of creativity to it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, like the video, and I will see you next time. Later.